I got my black skull cap. I got my Kiss shirt. Let's do another unboxing. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another video with the Monkey Something Sensei. And today, like the intro says, I got another unboxing for you guys. Yes, another unboxing. I've been doing a lot of these lately. I want to get back to the review style videos and the think piece videos. But for right now, there's been so much great stuff coming out, including this amazing box set, Black Sabbath, Anno Domini, 1989 to 1995. That's right, this box set brings together all the Tony Martin era records from 1989 to 1995. Of course, Dehumanizer isn't on this. They went back with Dio for a stint. That didn't work out, and they got Tony Martin back. But this does include Headless Cross from 1989, Tear from 1990, Cross Purposes 1994, and Forbidden, which are the new remix by Tony Iommi from 1995. And it's amazing how they were able to crank out these albums in such a short period of time, especially in the late 80s and early 90s. Just four great albums all around. Now, the one omission from this is The Eternal Idol. That came out in 1987. But that was because that was an album that was released on, I believe, Warner Brothers. It was their last album on Warner Brothers. They got dropped. They got signed to IRS Records, which is what these four albums are on. So this is pretty much the IRS years in a nutshell. And I actually got this puppy in the mail 2 or 3 days ago. You can see, still got the plastic wrap on it. Still got the hype sticker. Let me zoom in so you guys can see that. But I've been waiting to unbox this puppy because I've seen it on YouTube. So many people are unboxing this right now. But I'm super excited to get into this because I've actually been listening to the Tony Martin era past couple weeks now, ever since they dropped a few teaser tracks like Anno Domini and Get a Grip, which I had no idea that was on Forbidden. Of course, Forbidden, an album that not a lot of Black Sabbath fans liked. Again, it wasn't on streaming services. Neither was any of this stuff, really. So the fact that we got it now and we got it in physical form is just amazing to me. Alright, we got the plastic off. Of course, my hands are already sweating. Look at that. Beautiful. I love the black, too. And one thing I love about all these Black Sabbath box sets is that they all come with these purple hype stickers. So it's all uniform. So it doesn't matter if it's Ozzy, Dio, Tony, whatever. And I'm sure when they remix Born Again, whenever that is, it's going to be the same kind of deal with the hype sticker. So that's the hype sticker. I'm going to try to salvage that. Of course, here's the little paper on the back. Like with the vinyl box set, I've seen that unboxed as well. It has the same kind of paper back leaflet, whatever you want to call it. It's cool. I'll put it in the box. It fits pretty well. I'm going to open it up here. Oh, I love that sound. There we go. The lid. Gotta smell it. Ooh, that smells like, basically smells like wood. That's odd. But then with the box, you get this pull string, which I don't believe you get in the vinyl edition. For whatever reason, they didn't include that. But the pull string, you just pull it up. And the first thing we get is the Anno Domini book. So this is just the softback book. The vinyl, I believe it's the same thing. It's the giant hardback book. It includes information on the albums from all different band members. You get interviews. You get, of course, the personnel on each of the albums. Now, this is kind of a revolving door of musicians. I know Cozy Powell played drums on both of these albums, but then he left after the Forbidden tour, or halfway through the Forbidden tour, actually. But Cozy Powell is just the drummer of drummers, man. He's a great drummer. Again, I didn't really know much about him until I listened to this and the stuff he did with Rainbow. I mean, Rainbow Rising, come on. That Headless Cross tour, which there's actually, the next thing in here is actually the Headless Cross tour book, a replica. I think Headless Cross is really the showcase album in this set. That's the big one. That's like kind of the heaven and hell of this era for a lot of people. I mean, I'm looking through a lot of photos from this era. Metal Hammer with Tony. Tony Iommi is just a great guitar player. And I've actually not talked about Black Sabbath much on the channel, if at all. So I'm excited to really get more into their albums. I actually plan on buying a lot of their vinyl, a lot of their CDs. So there's Tear, Great album. Has a bit of that Greek, Norse mythology, Vikings, all that stuff. It's kind of a loose concept record. Cross Purposes, 94. This is kind of the sleeper album for me, it's Cross Purposes, because it's one I had really not heard. I've heard a little bit of Headless Cross. I had heard the Get a Grip track that they released, or Tony released on his channel, which is kind of funny. He hasn't released it on the Black Sabbath channel. He has to put it on his channel because, you know, Ozzy owns half the rights to the Black Sabbath name, because in order to do their reunion tour back in the 90s, I believe Tony had to give up half the rights, so that whole spiel. And of course, Forbidden. I'm sure this goes into how it was remixed and everything, which the original mix I have heard little bits and pieces of because of videos that compare the mixes, and this new mix blows that old one away. I couldn't imagine listening to that whole thing in full. Whew. And there's epilogue, and you get some singles. Great stuff, man. This is actually my first kind of album retrospective box set. I mean, I had my Rush box set, but that's just for one album. I never owned a box set that's got more than one album in it. Here's the Headless Cross Replica Tour program. Very spooky stuff. Again, just like in the replica book. Oh, I love this shot. Great live shot. Again, this is an era of the late 80s, man, early 90s. Records were sounding kind of thin. And admittedly, Headless Cross had a little bit of a thinness to it. When the title track kicks in, you can kind of hear the thinness. I sort of wish that we would have gotten everything remixed. Maybe in the future we will. There's Cozy and Tony Martin. And again, Tony Martin is such an underrated singer. A lot of people will compare him to Ronnie James Dio, and while he does have that sort of Ronnie James Dio approach to vocals, he does do things in his own way. And I think this era definitely deserves credit and should have some merit in the community. Tony with a guitar there, great shot. There's Cozy Powell again, Tony Martin. Kind of looking like, trying to think who that. He's kind of looking like George Michael, actually, in that photo. Or Stevie Ray Vaughan. It's odd. Neil Murray on bass. Again, good bass player. He does great stuff on the Headless Cross album. Now, one thing I find strange. I've watched the Headless Cross video about 5 times. Excellent video, but why do they shy away from Neil Murray? Is it because that's not Neil in the video? Like, if you look at the video, they don't even barely look at the bass player. If it's him or not. He's like, they basically pull an Ann Wilson in the 80s, and they barely even show him. It's like, okay, why? Is it because it's another bass player entirely? I don't know. And I believe they got someone else around the Headless Cross tour, if I'm not mistaken, or halfway through the tour. I'm not totally sure of the details on that, but there's Jeff Nichols. Speaking of people that don't get credit, Jeff Nichols, man, his synth work is excellent on these albums. It's very atmospheric. It's kind of like the Ozzy era, when you had Rick Wakeman and you had Don Airey on those 70s albums. Good stuff. More band shots. And there's more touring personnel. That's the book. Now we get into the Headless Cross poster, I believe. Yeah. Now with the vinyl set, this is big. This is a massive poster. With the CD set, it's big enough. But what's strange is that you have this little flap here. It's smaller than the other flaps. Yeah. Do I dare open this? Because you know it's going to be a pain in the ass to get back in the box and sealed, refolded. Yeah, there you go. Nice Headless Cross poster. Look, these walls I have here, they're I don't know if it's the paint or whatever, but they're kind of chipping. I don't like to hang up a lot of stuff. I just have this Beatles poster, and I have my 2 Rush, and these aren't even hanging. They're just kind of sitting against the wall here. By the way, what do you think of my new setup, guys? Figured I would debut it for this massive unboxing here because, you know, I might as well. I got them here. I might as well show you guys. But now the last part, arguably the most important part of any box set, is the music. So we get 4 CDs here. Starting off with Headless Cross. Now, I believe none of these are gatefold style LP replica jackets. They're just replica jackets. So you have the title, Headless Cross, album cover, the back, just like it was on the LP. Now, I don't have any LP of these. they're sort of getting pricey, and if I want the LPs, I'll buy the LP box set for about $100. Now, what's cool about these is that they come in these plastic sleeves. I like this. Now, the only downside is that they can slip out if you're not careful. If you take it out, they could slide out, but at least the CD's still protected. This is how I feel like all CDs should come. So that was Headless Cross, one of my favorites. Then we got Tear. Out of this entire set, I believe Tear is my least favorite, which I know is weird. A lot of Sabbath fans love this one, but there's something about it. Maybe it'll click one day, but I love songs like The Lawmaker. Track listing's not even on here. A little bit of a description of what Tear is, but there's no track listing, which is weird. On the CD there might be. Yeah, there is. Okay. Anno Mundi's cool. That was a lead-off track. Lawmaker's cool. I like the Sabbath Stones. That's a cool little longer piece. Odin's Court's really cool with the nice little ballad. But yeah, this is a loose concept record about Odin and Greek, Norse mythology and Vikings and all that stuff. So maybe that's why I prefer Greek mythology and other things. So that might be why I'm not the biggest fan of the album yet, but I'm sure it'll grow on me. This is one of my favorites from the box set, though. Cross Purposes. I mean, look at that cover. I believe in other parts of the world, when they would show her this album cover, they would actually have the angel, instead of the wings, they'd have her being eaten by a gator because they wanted to censor the album cover. I don't know how that's better. I think the fire is cool. You know, it's like the holy fire. And I like it. But funny fact about this, or cool fact about this, Geezer Butler came back for bass on this one album. And you could tell his bass is great on here. I love it. You can definitely tell when Geezer's on a Sabbath record. And one thing I like too, the discs are labeled. So it's upside down, but it says 3. Disc 3. As if you didn't know what order the albums go in, they do that for you. Gotta be careful with these things, though. I feel like they could be damaged really easily. And now for the ugly stepsister in the batch, Forbidden. This one I actually really liked. When I listened to the new mix, I like this album a lot. A lot of people say it's very 90s sounding. People say that about Cross Purposes too. I sort of hear it in that. But this is definitely 90s sounding. This was produced by Ernie C. From Body Count. In fact, Ice-T is on the first song, Illusion of Power, which is one of the many reasons people do not like this album. I like this album a lot, though. Like, I love the Illusion of Power. I love that doomy riff, especially with the remix. This has been remixed by Tony Iommi, by the way. This is I think I said that earlier, but just in case I didn't, Tony Iommi went back, remixed it. Sounds excellent now. Sounds very full. Illusion of Power sounds full. Get a Grip. I love the riff to that. Again, very 90s, but I just love the power behind it. I think that remix really helps. And the way Tony Martin is singing his heart out. The only thing, the lyrics are kind of hit or miss on this album. Again, they're kind of, I don't know, they're kind of milquetoast lyrics. Especially on songs like Can't Get Close Enough. Where he's like, I can't get close enough. I can't get close enough to you because you're too far away. It's like, okay. And then Get a Grip, where he's like, a child will put a gun to the head of his brother. And he says, that ain't nice. Like, no shit. Of course it's not nice. It just shouldn't have to be said. So it's a little bit off on some of the lyrics. But I love I Won't Cry For You. It's a great song. Instead of including a fade out, it actually ends too. So not only are the songs on here remixed, they're actually different vocal takes used. There's alternate vocal takes. Instead of fade outs, there's actually hard endings to the songs. I love Sick and Tired. Rusty Angels sort of sounds like a Dawkins song, but again, I love Dawkins, so I have no problem with that. Forbidden's a great track, and I love Kiss of Death. What a great way to close out this record. And then you get, the very end, you get bonus tracks. So one thing I didn't mention, 3 out of the 4 albums get bonus tracks. So on Forbidden, you get Loser Gets It All, which was, I believe, a Japanese bonus track from 95. And it's a great little rocker, 3 minutes long. It gets in, it gets out. Love it. But I actually really like this album. Let me not forget to show you the disc here. Disc 4. Again, they're all pretty much the same. They're Black Sabbath, Warner Records, track listing. You got the little devil there. Devil creature, the El Diablo, I believe they call him. But all the discs came out upside down, so that's whatever. But yeah, getting back to the bonus tracks here. Headless Cross came with Cloak and Dagger. Probably going to be impossible to see it right there. But yeah, Cloak and Dagger, you get that one. And now, Tear, you don't get a bonus track. There was just no bonus tracks for that. There were 2 Japanese tracks, but they were live tracks. I believe it was Heaven and Hell, and I think it was Iron Man or some other Aussie era track that was done. And of course, they couldn't include live material because licensing agreement. Like why Eternal Idol isn't on here. And why we didn't get Cross Purposes live because of licensing issues. Now, I have heard that Tony Martin is going to, or Tony or the band is going to try to re-release Cross Purposes separately. So we'll see if we get that. Again, one I've not heard before. I've actually not heard a lick of Tony Martin live. Because this is all studio albums, so I've not heard this live. But I'm excited to put this on and crank this album, Tear, all of them. I'm probably going to listen to them all at once, honestly. What's the Use of the bonus track on here? Again, great little 3-minute. And notice all the bonus tracks are about 3 minutes long. They're kind of just, throwaway deep cuts, but they're nice. I like them. So here are what the 4 albums look like all together. Again, CDs falling out. This is what I was talking about earlier about the CDs falling out. You gotta be careful with that. But if you're a fan of Black Sabbath and have not heard this era, go check these albums out on Spotify. They're all on there. All 2024 remaster, of course, Forbidden, again, remixed. This box set retails for around $60. That's how much I got it for. Great albums. I'd highly recommend checking out the Forbidden remix because it's amazing. Give this album another chance if you haven't listened to it because this album remix is just amazing. Even with some of the lyric issues aside. But Headless Cross is great. Tear is great. Cross Purposes, all these albums I think are fantastic. And if you like these, then also check out the Eternal Idol, the one that's not included on this box set, because that one did get a reissue a couple years ago. Haven't picked that up yet. It has a deluxe edition. Ray Gillen sings on that one too. He go on to sing for Badlands. So yeah, a lot of Tony Martin, a lot of Black Sabbath to listen to. Just a lot of music to get into in general. I got a lot of reading to do with these books. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to give the video a like. It always helps the channel. And if you can, swing on over to that subscribe button to join our Musical Monk family. And slap that notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload a new video to the channel. And don't forget to listen to Rush. And for all my fellow monks out there, don't forget to keep spinning those discs.